Hi, my name is David Harrell, and I'd love the opportunity just to share and tell you guys about what a great blessing Snyder Vision's been to me and to my family. Found out about Snyder Vision from really its coming to Columbus. Knew Angie Huskisson since she was a teenager. That was quite an experience. So I knew about Snyder Vision through her, the work that was being done in Columbus. Of course, know her brother very well and the huge change it's made in his life, as well as other kids, mostly kids, and a lot of us older guys that need to be coming and just for one reason wouldn't come. My son and I had talked for a good while. We have a number of the same symptoms. So we had talked for a good while about coming and kind of back and forth and back and forth. Finally, one day he says something kind of like, "Are you ready to do it?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Are you ready to do it?" And he said, "I'll do it if you do it." So that was kind of the thing. And I'm 64 and my son's 32. And we started Snyder Vision about a year ago together. Went to the assessment, assessed similarly in layman's terms, I'm sure very different to the therapist and certainly to Dr. Snyder, but a lot of the same kind of things, tension issues, all over the place in work and that kind of thing. Thank the Lord he didn't get his dad's temperament. I think I've passed that on to my grandson, his son, who I trust will be doing Snyder Vision probably fairly soon. All kind of issues growing up. Anger management, temper, no temper tantrums, because I'd be beaten if I did those, and that was probably a good thing. But anger issues, probably as time's gone on, some maybe even bipolar tendencies, up and down like a roller coaster emotionally. At the happiest person in the world, and then the person that's just mad at the world. And maybe that led in certain different directions. Probably a pretty good case of PTSD. At the time, we didn't know what PTSD was. In fact, only until fairly recently, they've actually, they've come up with a syndrome. Everything has a syndrome of some kind. So they've come up with a name for this critter that we didn't really know what it was. And I think in many ways, those kinds of issues have been the thing for me that Snyder Vision has addressed. Not being a student, but remembering my student days. Yes, I had trouble with reading, reading comprehension, attention. I have trouble with all those things yet to this day. Probably as a pastor, I probably read less than any pastor in any denomination anywhere. I'm just not a big fan of reading. But many of those behavioral issues, and I'll be honest, I was skeptical. I was told at the beginning, both by Angie and the assessment, by Dr. Snyder, those kinds of things can be addressed as I expressed the concerns and interests and problems I had. I was skeptical. I'd heard success stories with kids. I'd seen the change in Brant, but nothing like the kinds of things I was dealing with. And the change has been nothing short of phenomenal. Slowly at first, starting right from the beginning in looking at the field of vision, I was seeing life through a donut and didn't know it. I mean, my field of vision thing was about yay big. And I was literally seeing life through that. Talking about, I as a preacher would talk about us having tunnel vision. Well, I had tunnel vision and didn't even know I had it. The light therapy opened that visual fields up, and that really opened life up all around. I began to see things I hadn't seen. I could look right at something in front of me and not see it. Look all around it, I guess. Opened up the world around me. I began to see things in a different way. But the emotional, psychological issues that it dealt with in an interesting way. I've seen a psychiatrist. I'm on medicine for depression, anxiety. Maybe it helps some, but still a lot of those same issues, and really without me even knowing it or thinking about it, this has affected those kind of things tremendously. No, I'm not there yet. I still lose my temper. I still get anxious about things. When other drivers pull out in front of me, I want to choke them to death, like most people do. But the changes in those things, y'all, are just absolutely phenomenal. Not near as easily frustrated. Sleep a whole lot better, and much kinder to those around us. You know, when we have these kind of issues, and maybe hopefully nobody that watches this video has them, but I suspect that's probably the case because I have them. And that is, we launch out at those people closest. My friends, my church people, many people have no idea what I'm like because I can put on my best behavior. When I'm at home with my wife and to a lesser degree my children, I just let it cut loose, and it was ugly. It was really, really ugly. And in some strange way that I can't explain. I've heard Dr. Snyder explain it. My therapist Lisa's explained it. Angie explained it. I still don't understand it. And that's not really important. But I can tell you that it works because things are really, really different. I guess I would say I was kind of like the Peanuts character that goes around, I can't remember which one, the one that goes around with a cloud over his head. I kind of lived like that way. High school, my teachers branded me, they call me Sad Sack because I just go around in a funk all the time. And as time has gone on through experiences, the funk has kind of multiplied into anger, aggression, hostility, rage, violence. Thankfully, no domestic kind of violence issues. I made a very good soldier for a lot of those kind of reasons, and then that had kind of an interesting adverse kind of effect. But instead of the guy with a cloud, I go around now a lot more with a guy with a smile. Life is better. I told Miss Lisa quickly on, you know, the sun shines a whole lot more days than the darkness. That doesn't mean the clouds don't come. Clouds come roving in from time to time out of nowhere. My wife says, where did that come from? I said, darling, if I knew, I would not only tell you, but I'd do something about it. So one of the fascinating things from my angle, particularly as a pastor and even more maybe as a believer, is the whole thing of one of the greatest frustrations ever was wanting to live a godly life, wanting to live a life that would be pleasing and honoring to God, and just in most every way finding that totally frustrating. I know it's not easy for anybody. I've never heard a Christian say, oh, being like Jesus is just as easy as pie, just go out and do it every day. Never heard anybody say that. But for me, it was running my head against the wall every day, all the time. Things are still there. I still have issues. I still have problems. I still get mad. I still say things I shouldn't. I give people dirty looks. But every bit of that has been modified so much. And I've told Dr. Snyder I would love one day to write a book, and it would be Snyder Vision and Sanctification. Sanctification is that process for the believer where we die more and more unto self and live more and more like the Lord Jesus. Snyder Vision can help dramatically, as it is in my life every day, with something as spiritual as that. We may not think that the eyes, the mind, and the spirit have any correlation, but I can tell you they do. I hope and pray that the Lord will allow me to come to that point and to live long enough to write this book, and that it will be a help to other people, as well as just the testimony of this video and the difference that it's made in an old guy that waited way too long. I'm thankful to the Snyder people for encouraging me. I'm thankful for Angie for nudging and poking and prodding. I'm very thankful to my son Daniel for just, I love a challenge. He said, I'll do it if you do it. Well, we've done it, and we're still doing it. We still do homework. I love playing with my toys. That's what I call my little things that they've given me to do. I play with my toys. life is good. Few clouds, little bit of rain, but a whole lot of sunshine and a whole lot of joy. Thank the Lord, and thank you guys at Snyder Vision for the special place you have in my life, my heart.